Hi everyone, my name's Rachel Brawner. This is my Social Justice and Human Rights Master's Compendium project overview. So, recognizing the impacts of colonialism. My overarching theme for this compendium lies in the roles of research and advocacy and how they can help in decolonizing basically our social, cultural, political, and economic worlds. But to do this, we have to acknowledge the lasting impacts of colonialism in the modern era. So briefly going through each of the main classes and how they impacted me to form this overall theme narrative, Pro Seminar in Social Justice and Human Rights allowed me to recognize the influence that master narratives have over our retelling of history and the need to counter those with counter narratives of different perspectives. Gender violence and sex trafficking showed me issues of Western feminism and how Western feminist ideologies inherently continue the efforts of colonization in a lot of ways for women that don't live in the Western world and might not subscribe to specific ideologies or maybe going through different problems that need to be acknowledged. Migration asylums and refugees showed me how incredibly racialized our immigration systems are and how that dates back to colonial rule and influences modern immigration systems in their demonizing of the immigrant. Critical humanitarianism showed me how ethnocentric our humanitarian practices can be and the need to incorporate the ideas and the voices of those that they are seeking to help in the first place. And then finally, research methodologies and action research showed me the purposes of research and advocacy and how they can play a large role in the decolonization effort. So the importance of decolonization, to begin with, we have to recognize that colonialism still has impacts today. So root ideologies have a basis in racist, sexist, homophobic, classist, and other harmful practices that seek to alienate people. Those in power are often timid of acknowledging the lasting impacts of colonialism as it influences their power dynamics and the need for control. Social justice and human rights fields will never be truly just unless they recognize the influence of colonialism in the modern era. So we have to recognize that history doesn't encompass all perspectives, but rather focuses on a single master narrative, often told by those in power. So to truly learn from history, we have to look at it from all perspectives, leading with a sense of empathy to understand. So master narratives from an era of colonialism still persist today. They are embedded within the very foundations and doctrines of Western nations and how our systems were created, which is why ideologies of racism, sexism, homophobia, classism still persist. So within this, I wanted to break down each component and each pieces that I've written throughout the duration of this program into 5 main areas of decolonization. So that includes the need to decolonize education systems, the need to decolonize feminism, the need to decolonize immigration and migration fields, the need to decolonize humanitarian and humanitarian aid fields, and the need to decolonize sexuality and gender expression and what we deem acceptable. So finally, to bridge all of this together and to show how I plan to use this in the future, the knowledge that I have learned, research and advocacy can play a large role in deconstructing master narratives perpetuated by colonialism in a number of ways. To begin with, they provide space for counter narratives to be told by those we are often silence or dismiss. It allows us to learn from different perspectives and foster a sense of empathy from people that are different than us. It calls attention to human rights abuses happening around the world and spreads awareness about them to advocate for change. And it infuses accurate accounts of lived experiences in the need to advocate for reform. So I included a plethora of personal papers within each subtopic that go with the overarching theme, and these include, as detailed below, decolonizing Western education systems, feminism against capitalism, how Western feminist ideals intersect with the humanitarian sector, human rights in an era of climate change-induced migration, capitalism in the humanitarian sector, aid workers and victim blaming, and finally, heterosexual privilege and research methodologies. Right? I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching.